The conference hall at Vega Station floated in the darkness of space like a crystal jewel. Inside, representatives from dozens of alien species gathered under the massive dome that showed the stars beyond. Ambassador Kyung-Soo-an sat in the human delegation area, his hands folded on the smooth table surface. He had attended these Galactic Council meetings for 7 years now. 7 long years of being treated like a child at an adult's table. Kyung-Soo was 58 years old. His hair had gone gray during his time as Earth's voice in the galaxy. He wore the simple blue uniform of United Earth Diplomatic Service. Around him, aliens of every shape and size discussed trade routes, mining rights, and border disputes. The Varathians looked like massive insects standing upright, their bodies covered in dark armor-like shells. The Telkhani appeared as clouds of glowing energy contained in floating spheres. The Muradins resembled giant salamanders with too many eyes. The meeting had been routine until War Prince Shakor stood to speak. The Varathian leader was 3 meters tall, his shell black as midnight with red markings that showed his royal status. His voice came through the translation system as a harsh clicking sound transformed into words everyone could understand. "I wish to address a matter of concern," Shakor announced, his 4 eyes fixed on the human section. The species called humanity continues to expand their presence in council space. They build more ships. They claim more stations. They act as if they belong among civilized races. Kyung-Soo felt his stomach tighten. He had learned to recognize when trouble was coming. "The humans come from what they call Earth," Shakor continued. "A death world. A planet so dangerous that every day is a battle for survival. They evolved as predators, as killers. And now we allow them to walk among us as equals?" Several alien representatives shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded in agreement. Kyung-Soo started to stand, but Shakor's voice grew louder. "I have reviewed human military capabilities. Their ships are primitive. Their weapons are crude. They use chemical rockets and metal projectiles like ancient savages. The only reason we tolerate their presence is courtesy, nothing more. They should be grateful we do not treat them as the vermin they resemble." The word vermin echoed through the hall. Kyung-Soo stood now, his face burning with controlled anger. "War Prince Shakor, I must object to your characterization," Kyung-Soo said, keeping his voice steady. "Humanity has contributed significantly to council projects. Our scientists have shared knowledge freely. Our engineers have helped build 3 new stations. We have earned our place here." Shakor's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Earned? You have done the minimum required to avoid expulsion. Your entire species exists in council space because we allow it. Do not mistake tolerance for respect. We have as much right to be here as any species," Kyung-Soo replied. "Human ships patrol trade routes. Human doctors work in council hospitals. Human warriors are untested," Shakor interrupted. "You speak of contributions, but when have humans proven themselves in battle? Never. You hide behind council protection like children behind their parents. Your ships have never faced real combat. If they did, they would break like toys." Kyung-Soo felt the eyes of every delegation on him. This was more than an insult. This was a challenge. If he backed down now, humanity's position in the council would be permanently weakened. "Human military forces are more capable than you assume," Kyung-Soo said carefully. "We may be new to space warfare, but humans understand conflict. We have 10,000 years of military history. History fighting yourselves." Shakor's voice rose. "You are clever monkeys who learned to leave your world. But you know nothing of real war. The Varathian Empire has conquered 17 star systems. Our fleet is legendary. If humans ever faced true warriors in battle, you would surrender within hours." The Telkhani High Counselor, an ancient being named Vex Murin, spoke for the first time. Its voice was like music made of light. "War Prince Shakor, this debate serves no purpose. The humans are council members. That status is not in question." "Then let them prove they deserve it," Shakor said. "Let them demonstrate that their military is more than decoration. I challenge humanity to show the council their strength." Kyung-Soo knew a trap when he saw one. If humanity refused, they would look weak. If they accepted, they would be forced into a military demonstration that could be manipulated into a humiliation. "Humanity does not need to prove anything," Kyung-Soo said. "We are a peaceful species that prefers diplomacy to violence." "Peaceful," Shakor repeated, making the word sound like an insult. "You mean weak. You mean afraid. This is what I expected. Clever vermin who run from real challenges. Kyung-soo sat down, his hands shaking with suppressed rage. The meeting continued, but the damage was done. The recording of Shakur's speech would spread across council space within hours. Every species would hear humanity called vermin. Every species would hear Kyung-soo's inability to defend his people effectively. 3 days later, Kyung-soo returned to Earth. He went directly to United Earth Military Command in Geneva. Admiral Jae Sung-ryu met him in a secure briefing room. The admiral was 61 years old, a veteran of the resource wars that had nearly destroyed Earth in the previous century. His face was hard as stone. "I saw the recording," Jae Sung said. "The whole world saw it." "I did what I could," Kyung-soo replied, sitting heavily. "But Shakur made his point. Now everyone thinks we are weak. Maybe we should show them otherwise. The council would interpret any military demonstration as aggression. Then we do it quietly," Jae Sung said. He pulled up a holographic display showing a massive warship. The UNS Thundersoul completed its final trials last month. It is the most advanced ship humanity has ever built. Officially, we will send it to the Outer Rim for routine exercises. Unofficially, we will make sure certain parties know about it. "You want to provoke them," Kyung-soo said. "I want them to understand that insulting humanity has consequences," Jae Sung replied. "For 50 years we have been the quiet newcomers. We have accepted every insult, every slight, every dismissal. Maybe it is time we reminded the galaxy that humans did not reach the stars by being weak." Kyung-soo looked at the ship in the hologram. The Thundersoul was beautiful in a deadly way. It bristled with weapons. Its armor was thick. Its engines were powerful enough to push the massive vessel at speeds that would surprise any alien captain. "Who will command it?" Kyung-soo asked. "Captain Dongmin Park. He is our best. Calm under pressure. Strategic. And like the rest of us, tired of being called vermin." Dongmin Park stood on the bridge of the Thundersoul 3 weeks later. He was 42 years old, tall and lean, with short black hair and dark eyes that missed nothing. Around him, his crew prepared the ship for departure from Earth orbit. Through the main view screen, he could see his homeworld, blue and white and green against the black of space. His first officer, Commander Haewon Choi, approached with a datapad. She was 35, brilliant, and known throughout the fleet for solving tactical problems that seemed impossible. "Final systems check complete," Haewon reported. "All weapon systems online. The Hammer protocol is ready for deployment if needed." "Let us hope it is not needed," Dongmin said. "This is supposed to be a routine exercise." "Nothing about this mission is routine," Haewon replied quietly. "Everyone knows why we are really going out there." Dongmin nodded. The entire crew knew. They had all seen the recording of Ambassador Kyung-soo's humiliation. They had all heard their species called vermin by an arrogant alien prince, and they all wanted a chance to prove Shakur wrong. "Take us out," Dongmin ordered. "Navigation, set course for the Kepler margin. Maximum efficient speed." The Thundersoul's engines flared blue-white. The massive battleship turned away from Earth and accelerated into deep space. Behind them, Admiral Jae Sung watched from command center screens. Far across the galaxy, Varathian intelligence detected the human ship's departure. They tracked its course and noted its capabilities. War Prince Shakur received the report and smiled with his mandibles. The humans were taking the bait. He dispatched 6 heavy cruisers with simple orders: intercept the human ship, force its surrender, and teach these clever monkeys what real power looked like. Shakur assumed it would be a quick lesson. He assumed the humans would back down when faced with true military might. He assumed wrong. The Thundersoul moved through the darkness between stars like a shark through deep water. Captain Dongmin Park sat in his command chair, watching the view screen display the endless black of the Kepler margin. This region of space was technically neutral territory. No laws applied here. No treaties protected anyone. It was the perfect place for something bad to happen. "Sensors are clear," reported Lieutenant Bo-Ra Kim from the weapons station. She was 29 years old with sharp eyes and quick hands. "No contacts within 3 light hours. Continue the exercise pattern," Dongmin ordered. "I want full weapons test on schedule." For the past 6 hours, the Thundersoul had been running combat drills. Railguns fired at target drones. Plasma torpedoes practiced intercept patterns. Shield systems cycled through different configurations. Everything worked perfectly. The ship was ready for battle, even though Dongmin hoped battle would never come. Chief Engineer Sung-ho Baek called from engineering. His face appeared on a side screen, looking worried. "Captain, I need to talk about the Hammer Protocol. The system is still experimental. If we actually use it in combat, I cannot guarantee what will happen." "Noted," Dongmin replied. "But if we need it, we need it. Keep it ready." Sung-ho was 45 years old and had built half the Thunder Soul's systems with his own hands. He knew every wire, every circuit, every potential failure point. The Hammer Protocol worried him because it pushed the ship beyond normal limits. But orders were orders. Commander Haewon Choi stood near the tactical display, studying readouts. She had been quiet all day, which usually meant she was thinking hard about something. "You sense it too?" Dongmin asked quietly. "We were sent here to make a statement," Haewon said. "Statements have a way of provoking responses. Do you think they will come? I think proud warriors do not like being challenged, even indirectly." Before Dongmin could respond, the sensor station lit up with warnings. The officer there, a young man named Taiwan, went pale. "Captain, multiple contacts dropping out of faster-than-light travel. 6 ships. Configuration matches Varathian heavy cruisers. Range 1 million kilometers and closing." The bridge went silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Dongmin felt ice water run through his veins, but his voice stayed calm. "Battle stations. All hands to combat positions." Haewon analysis. Haewon's fingers flew across her console. 6 Varathian heavy cruisers in attack formation. Each ship is twice our size. Combined firepower exceeds ours by approximately 4 to 1. They are blocking our escape vector. "Communications, open a channel," Dongmin ordered. The main view screen changed to show a Varathian bridge. War Prince Shakor stood in the center, his massive insectoid form dominating the screen. His red markings seemed to glow with satisfaction. "Human vessel Thunder Soul," Shakor's voice clicked and translated. "You are in violation of Council space regulations. Your ship is too heavily armed for your species' authorized level. You will surrender your vessel for inspection immediately." Dongmin stood, making sure his voice carried authority. "War Prince Shakor, we are in neutral space conducting authorized exercises. No Council regulations apply here. We have no intention of surrendering our ship." "Then we will take it," Shakor replied simply. "You have 1 minute to shut down your weapons and prepare for boarding. If you resist, we will destroy you." The channel closed. Dongmin turned to his crew. Every face showed fear, but also determination. They were young mostly, these crew members. The average age on the Thunder Soul was 32. They had joined the fleet to serve humanity, not expecting to actually face death. "Options," Dongmin said to Haewon. "We can surrender," Haewon replied, her voice steady. "We can run, though they will catch us. Or we can fight. If we surrender, they humiliate humanity," Dongmin said. "If we run, we prove Shakor right about us being cowards. If we fight, we probably die," Haewon finished. "But at least we die with teeth bared." Dongmin thought of Ambassador Kyung-soo being called vermin. He thought of Admiral Jae-sung's words about humanity needing to prove itself. He thought of Earth and everyone there who would hear about what happened here today. "All crew, this is the captain," Dongmin announced on the shipwide channel. "The Varathians are attacking us illegally in neutral space. They expect us to surrender. They expect us to prove their assumptions about humanity being weak. I do not intend to give them that satisfaction. We are going to fight. Some of us may not survive, but Earth will know we stood our ground. Humanity will know we did not back down. That has to be enough. All stations, prepare for combat." Lieutenant Bora's voice came from weapons. "Captain, request permission to fire first. Denied." "Let them start this. I want the recording to show clearly who the aggressors are." The 6 Varathian cruisers closed to firing range. They spread out in a net formation, trying to surround the Thunder Soul. It was a standard pack hunting pattern. They expected the human ship to panic and make mistakes. "Incoming fire," Taewon shouted. The view screen lit up with plasma bolts. They came from 3 directions at once. The Thunder Soul's shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the impacts. The ship rocked but held steady. "Return fire," Dongmin ordered. "Target the closest cruiser. Full railgun spread." The Thunder Soul's railguns spoke. They were not energy weapons like the Varathians used. They were simple tubes that used magnetic fields to launch solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Simple, primitive, and absolutely devastating. The railgun rounds crossed the distance in seconds. They hit the Varathian cruiser's shields with the force of small meteors. The shields held, but they flickered and weakened. "Their shields are designed for energy weapons," Haewon observed. "They are less effective against kinetic impacts." "Then we keep shooting," Dongmin said. Helm evasive pattern Delta. Do not let them pin us down. Young Ensign Dae-Jung Lee sat at the helm controls. He was 24 years old, the youngest bridge officer, and he flew the Thunder Soul like it was part of his body. The massive battleship twisted and rolled, dodging plasma fire that would have vaporized it. The Varathian formation tried to adjust, but the Thunder Soul was faster than they expected. It was smaller than their cruisers and built for speed. Dae-Jung sent it weaving through their formation like a fighter craft, not a capital ship. This is impossible. Shakur's voice came through the communication system. That ship is too large to maneuver like that. But it was not impossible. It was just human. Dae-Jung had grown up on Earth with its crushing gravity. His reflexes were honed by a lifetime of fighting against weight and inertia. To him, space combat felt almost easy compared to atmospheric flight back home. Lieutenant Bo-Ra fired again. This time the railgun rounds punched through the weakened shields and hit the Varathian cruiser's hull directly. Metal tore. Atmosphere vented. The cruiser's engine stuttered and died. Target disabled. Bo-Ra reported, her voice shaking with excitement and fear. Good shooting. Select next target. The Thunder Soul rolled to avoid fire from two other cruisers. It dove toward a nearby asteroid field, using the rocks for cover. The Varathians followed, their larger ships struggling to navigate the tight spaces. They are herding predators, Haewon explained to the crew. They hunt in packs on their homeworld. They are trying to corner us. Then we do not let them corner us, Dongmin replied. Dae-Jung, take us deeper into the asteroids. Make them work for every shot. For the next 20 minutes, the battle turned into a deadly game of cat and mouse, except the mouse had sharp teeth. The Thunder Soul used the asteroids as weapons, positioning itself so that Varathian plasma fire hit rocks instead of shields. When the Varathians got too close, Bo-Ra would fire railguns or launch plasma torpedoes from unexpected angles. A second Varathian cruiser died when Dae-Jung led it past a large asteroid. Bo-Ra calculated the exact moment and fired a plasma torpedo into the asteroid. The explosion sent massive chunks of rock into the cruiser at high speed. The ship's shields could not handle the sudden impacts from multiple directions. It broke apart in a shower of debris. 2 down, 4 to go, Haewon said. But we are taking damage. Shields are at 60%. We have hull breaches on decks 7 and 9. Dr. Yoonji Han's voice came from medical. 14 wounded so far. 3 serious. We need those breaches sealed. Dongmin felt the weight of command. 14 people hurt. How many more before this ended? But stopping now meant surrender, and surrender meant everything they fought for meant nothing. Engineering. Redirect power from non-essential systems to shields, Dongmin ordered. Sung-Ho responded immediately. Already doing it. But Captain, our reactor is running hot. If we push much harder, we risk a shutdown. Noted. Keep us in the fight. The third Varathian cruiser came at them from above, trying to use its superior size and firepower to force the Thunder Soul into a killing zone, where the other 3 cruisers waited. It was a good plan. It almost worked. Haewon saw the trap forming. Captain recommendation. We overcharge the forward railguns. 1 massive salvo. We can punch through that cruiser's shields if we hit it with everything at once. Do it, Sung-Ho protested from engineering. Commander, that will drain our shields completely for at least 30 seconds. I know, Haewon said. But if we do not break their formation now, they will surround us. The Thunder Soul limped through the asteroid field, trailing atmosphere from a dozen breaches. Captain Dongmin Park watched the tactical display as 3 Varathian cruisers moved to surround his ship. They were being careful now, coordinating their movements. They had learned that humans were dangerous. Damage report, Dongmin said quietly. Commander Haewon Choi read from her console, her voice steady despite the grim numbers. Shields at 40% and dropping. Hull breaches on 8 decks. 28 crew confirmed dead. 41 wounded. Port railgun battery offline. Starboard torpedo tubes damaged but functional. 28 dead. Dongmin felt each number like a knife. These were people he knew by name, people who trusted him to bring them home. But the battle was not over. 3 Varathian cruisers still hunted them. Engineering status? Dongmin asked. Chief Engineer Sung-Ho Bayek's face appeared on screen. Behind him, his team worked frantically to repair systems. Smoke filled the engineering bay. Reactor is holding but barely. Main drives are at 70% capacity. If we need full combat speed, I cannot promise the engines will not blow. What about the hammer protocol? Sung-Ho hesitated. It is ready. But Captain, using it in our current state is extremely risky. The power surge could cause a cascade failure. Understood, keep it ready anyway. Lieutenant Bora Kim called from weapons. Captain, the Varathians are spreading out. They are positioning themselves at 3 points around us. If they fire simultaneously, from those positions we cannot dodge them all. Dongmin looked at the tactical display. She was right. The Varathians had learned from their mistakes. They were not charging in recklessly anymore. They were using patience and coordination. It was a smart strategy against a wounded opponent. How long until they are in position? Dongmin asked. 3 minutes, Bora replied. 3 minutes to live or die. Dongmin felt the weight of command crushing down on him. He had brought his crew into this fight. If they died here, it would be his fault. But if they surrendered, everything they had fought for would be meaningless. Haewon stepped close to him, speaking quietly so only he could hear. We hurt them badly. 3 of their ships destroyed. Even if we die here, we proved humanity is not weak. Proving we are not weak means nothing if we are dead, Dongmin replied. Then we make sure we do not die. Dongmin looked at his first officer. She had an expression he recognized. It was the look she got when solving impossible problems. You have an idea. They think they have us trapped, Haewon said. They think we will try to run or fight defensively. We need to do something they do not expect, which is, we attack. But not all 3 ships, just 1. We focus everything on breaking through their line at the weakest point. If we can destroy or disable 1 more cruiser, we can escape through the gap. That means charging directly at them, taking all their fire. Yes, but our forward shields are still stronger than our side shields. If Daijung can keep our nose pointed at them while we close distance, we might survive long enough to strike. Dongmin considered it. The plan was insane. It relied on their damaged ship surviving a head-on charge against enemy fire. But every alternative was worse. If they stayed in the asteroids, the Varathians would eventually corner them. If they tried to run, the cruisers would chase them down and tear them apart from behind. Which cruiser? Dongmin asked. Haewon pulled up detailed scans. The one to our port side. It has the most damage from our earlier engagement. Its shields are weaker. If we hit it hard and fast, we can punch through. Ensign Daejung, Dongmin called to the helm. Can you fly us straight at a target while keeping our forward shields facing their weapons? The young pilot's hands moved across his controls, running simulations. It will be difficult. They will try to flank us. I will need to rotate the ship constantly while maintaining forward velocity. Can you do it? Daejung looked back at his captain. His face was young, but his eyes showed the courage of someone ready to try the impossible. Yes, sir, I can do it. Dongmin stood. All crew, this is the captain. We are damaged and outnumbered. The Varathians think they have us beaten. They are wrong. We are going to charge the cruiser at bearing 270. We are going to break through their line, and we are going to make it home to tell Earth about this day. All stations, prepare for assault run. The bridge crew moved with renewed purpose. Fear was still there, but it was mixed with something stronger. Determination, pride, the knowledge that they were making history one way or another. Helm, take us out of the asteroids, Dongmin ordered. Flank speed, target the port cruiser. The Thunder Soul emerged from the asteroid field. Its damaged hull showed scars from dozens of impacts. Atmosphere still vented from some breaches, leaving trails of frozen gas in the void. But its weapons were charged and its engines burned bright. War Prince Shocker watched from his command cruiser as the human ship turned toward his formation. They are attacking? Alone? Against 3 ships? His mandibles clicked in confusion. Are they insane? His tactical officer, a younger Varathian warrior, studied the displays. They are targeting Cruiser Thorn. It has the weakest shields. Then Thorn will hold position, Shakor ordered. All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel. They want to die gloriously. We will grant their wish. The Thunder Soul accelerated. Daejung's hands flew across the helm controls, making tiny adjustments every second. The ship moved forward like a boxer, weaving slightly but always keeping its strongest shields pointed at the enemy. "Incoming fire," called the sensor officer. Plasma bolts converged from 3 directions. Daejung tilted the Thunder Soul, rotating it so the forward shields took most of the impacts. The shields flared so bright they lit up space like a small sun. Inside the ship, the lights flickered as power was drained to maintain the defensive screen. "Shields holding at 35%, Haiwan reported. "But every hit weakens them." "Keep going," Dongmin ordered. "Bora, prepare all forward weapons. I want everything we have ready to fire the moment we are in range." "Weapons charged and ready," Bora confirmed. The Thunder Soul took hit after hit. Each impact shook the ship. Each explosion of plasma against the shields brought them closer to failure. In engineering, Sung Ho and his team worked desperately to keep power flowing. Damaged conduits sparked. Backup systems were brought online. The reactor ran so hot that temperature warnings flashed red across every screen. "Shields at 20%, Haiwan called out. In Medical Bay, Dr. Yoon Ji-han worked to save lives as the ship shuddered around her. More wounded arrived every minute. Some were burned by plasma that had leaked through damaged sections. Others were crushed by falling debris. She had studied medicine to help people, not to work in a flying coffin during a space battle, but she did her job without complaint. "Shields at 15%. A direct hit struck the Thunder Soul's port side. The shields failed in that section for just a moment, but it was enough. Plasma burned through the armor. An explosion tore through Deck 12. 14 crew members died instantly. Among them was Ensign Daejung's best friend, a young woman named Subin who had served on the navigation team. Deck 12 is gone, Haiwan reported, her voice tight. Emergency bulkheads sealed. We lost 14 people. Daejung heard the report through his earpiece. He knew Subin was stationed on Deck 12. For a moment, his hands froze on the controls. Then he gripped them tighter and kept flying. He would grieve later. Right now, he had to keep his ship alive. "Range to target?" Dongmin asked. 50,000 kilometers, Bora answered. 30 seconds to optimal firing range. "Shields at 8%, Haiwan said. "Captain, we will not survive another concentrated volley." Dongmin watched the distance counter tick down. Everything depended on the next 30 seconds. If they could close the distance and destroy Cruiser Thorn, they had a chance. If the shields failed first, they would die in fire and vacuum. War Prince Shocker saw the human ship still coming. Its shields were nearly gone. Its hull was torn and bleeding atmosphere. But it did not stop. It did not turn away. It came on like a wounded animal that refused to die. For the first time in his long military career, Shakur felt something he had not experienced in battle before. Not fear exactly, but a kind of respect for an enemy that simply would not quit. "All ships, maximum firepower," Shakur ordered. "End this now." 20,000 kilometers, Bora called out. 15, 10. "Shields at 3%. They are going to fail." 5,000 kilometers. Dongmin stood, gripping the arms of his command chair. "All weapons fire." The Thunder Soul unleashed everything it had. Railguns fired solid rounds that crossed the distance in heartbeats. Plasma torpedoes streaked toward the target, trailing fire. Even the damaged port battery managed to fire a few rounds before shutting down completely. At the same moment, the Thunder Soul's shields finally failed. Varathian plasma fire hit the bare hull directly. Metal vaporized. Armor plating peeled away. The ship rang like a bell as explosions tore through multiple decks, but the Thunder Soul's weapons had already reached their target. Cruiser Thorn's weakened shields absorbed the first impacts. They held against the second wave. Then the third wave of railgun rounds hit, and the shields collapsed. The remaining rounds punched through the cruiser's hull like bullets through paper. The Thunder Soul drifted through space like a wounded animal looking for a place to die. Half its engines were offline. The shields were completely gone. 20 decks had been breached and sealed. The crew had stopped counting the dead after 35 because the number kept rising. Captain Dongmin Park walked through the corridors of his ship, seeing the damage with his own eyes. Burn marks covered the walls. Emergency lighting cast everything in red shadows. Medical teams carried wounded on stretchers. Engineers worked frantically to patch holes and reroute power. He stopped at a window that looked out into space. Somewhere behind them, War Prince Shakur's remaining 2 cruisers were probably deciding whether to finish the hunt. Dongmin had gambled that destroying 4 of 6 ships would make the Varathians cautious. But it was just a gamble. If they came for the Thunder Soul now, there would be no fight. Just execution. Commander Haewon Choi found him there. She had a cut above her left eye from when a console exploded during the battle. Blood had dried on the side of her face, but she had refused medical attention until more seriously wounded crew were treated. Damage assessment is complete, Haewon said quietly. We lost 43 people. 68 wounded, 19 seriously. The ship can limp along at quarter speed. Main weapons are offline, but we are alive. For now, Dongmin replied. The Varathians are not pursuing. Our sensors detected them moving away back toward their territory. Dongmin felt relief flood through him. They had survived. Against impossible odds, they had survived. Send a message to Earth, Dongmin ordered. Full report. Include all sensor logs and battle recordings. Make sure Admiral Jae-sung knows what happened here. Already done. I sent it an hour ago using tight beam communication. Earth will receive it in approximately 6 hours. Dongmin smiled slightly. You are getting good at knowing what I want before I ask. I have served with you for 4 years. I would be a poor first officer if I had not learned by now. They stood together in silence for a moment, watching the stars. We proved something today, Haewon said. The Varathians thought we were weak. They thought 1 human ship could not stand against 6 of theirs. We did not stand against 6, Dongmin corrected. We barely survived against 6, and we lost good people doing it. But we survived. That is what matters. In engineering, Chief Engineer Sung-Ho Baek was less optimistic. He stood in front of the main reactor, watching the temperature readings with growing concern. The reactor had been pushed far beyond safe limits during the battle. Now it was unstable. Small fluctuations in the containment field appeared every few minutes. We need to shut it down and let it cool, Sung-Ho told his assistant. But if we do that, we lose life support for the damaged sections. Everyone in those areas dies. Can we do a partial shutdown? The assistant asked. Maybe, but it is risky. If the containment field fails completely, Sung-Ho did not finish the sentence. They both knew what happened when a fusion reactor lost containment. The Thunder Soul would become a small sun for approximately 3 seconds. Dr. Yoon Ji-han worked in the medical bay, which had become more like a field hospital. Wounded lay on every available surface. Some would recover, others would not. She moved from patient to patient, doing what she could with limited supplies. A young engineer named Hyun-woo lay on one of the beds. Plasma burns covered the left side of his body. He was barely conscious, kept comfortable by pain medication. Am I going to die? Hyun-woo asked weakly. Yoonji did not lie to her patients. I do not know. Your burns are serious, but we are getting you stabilized. You are young and strong. That helps. Did we win? We survived. That is a kind of winning. Hyun-woo smiled slightly. Tell my family I did my duty. You will tell them yourself when we get home. On the bridge, Lieutenant Bo-ra Kim sat at her weapons station, staring at screens that showed mostly red warning lights. Every weapon system was either damaged or offline. The railguns that had torn apart Varathian cruisers were now just expensive metal tubes without power. She thought about the battle. She had fired weapons that killed hundreds, maybe thousands of enemy crew. It should have bothered her more than it did. But those enemies had come to kill her and her shipmates first. War Prince Shakur had given them no choice. She had done what was necessary. Young Ensign Dae-jung Lee sat at the helm, his hands still on the controls even though there was little flying to do at their current slow speed. He had not left his station in 8 hours. He had not eaten. He had barely drunk water. He just sat there flying his wounded ship toward safety. He thought about Subin. They had gone through academy training together. She had been funny and smart and kind. Now she was gone, killed when plasma burned through Deck 12. He should have protected her somehow. He should have flown better, dodged better, kept the ship safer. It was not your fault, Commander Haewon said, appearing beside him. She had a talent for knowing when crew members were suffering. I could have saved her if I had been faster, Dae-jung replied. You saved this entire ship with your flying. Without you, we would all be dead, Subin included, but she died anyway. Yes, and that is the terrible truth of war. We do our best and people still die. Haywan put a hand on his shoulder. You flew like nothing I have ever seen. You kept us alive against 6 enemy ships. Your friend would be proud of you. Daejung nodded, not trusting himself to speak. 6 hours later, Earth received the transmission from the Thunder Soul. Admiral Jae-sung Ryu was in his office when the message arrived. He read the battle report 3 times, not quite believing what he was seeing. 1 human ship had fought 6 Varathian cruisers, 4 enemy vessels destroyed, the Thunder Soul damaged but intact, 43 crew dead, but the ship was coming home. Jae-sung immediately called an emergency meeting with Earth's military command. Within the hour, every important official was gathered in the secure briefing room in Geneva. This changes everything, Jae-sung said, showing them the battle recordings. On the screens, the Thunder Soul danced through space, dodging and striking like a boxer fighting multiple opponents. The destruction of the Varathian cruisers played out in fire and silence. The Varathians attacked first, noted General Minho Park, head of Earth's defensive fleet. This was an illegal action in neutral space. Which means we have grounds for a formal protest to the Galactic Council, added Ambassador Kyung-soo An, who had rushed back from Vega Station for the meeting. But more importantly, we proved that human military capability is real. We are not the weak species they assumed. One victory does not make us powerful, cautioned another general. The Varathian Empire has thousands of ships. We have fewer than 100. But now they know those 100 ships are dangerous, Jae-sung replied. Every species in the galaxy will see these recordings. They will see that humans can fight. They will think twice before insulting us again. The discussion continued for hours. Some officials wanted to use the victory to demand better treatment in the council. Others worried that the Varathians would seek revenge. All agreed that humanity's position in galactic politics had shifted. Meanwhile, news of the battle spread across Earth. People gathered in streets and public spaces to watch the recordings. They saw the Thunder Soul charge into impossible odds. They saw human courage stand against alien arrogance. They saw their species prove itself worthy. In the Varathian Empire, War Prince Shakur faced consequences of his own. He knelt before the Empress, the supreme ruler of his people, in the throne chamber of the homeworld. The Empress was ancient and massive, her shell marked with the scars of 1,000 battles. You lost 4 heavy cruisers to 1 inferior vessel, the Empress said. Her voice carried disappointment and anger. You have brought shame to our fleet. The humans fought with unexpected skill, Shakur replied. They are not what we believed them to be, clearly. This is a disaster. The entire galaxy will see the recordings. They will see Varathian ships destroyed by primitives. Our reputation suffers. Then let us finish what I started. Give me a fleet. Let me destroy Earth itself. The Empress considered this. No. You have done enough damage. Besides, the Galactic Council would not permit it. The humans acted defensively in neutral space. The law is on their side. Then what do? We learn from this. The humans are dangerous. More dangerous than any of us realized. We will not underestimate them again. Shakur left the throne chamber in disgrace. But he knew the truth. The Varathian Empire would not forget this humiliation. Sooner or later, there would be another confrontation with humanity. Next time, his people would be prepared. The Thunder Soul finally reached a repair station in neutral space, a massive structure run by the Muridan Trade Federation. The Muridans were merchants first and did not care about politics. They would repair any ship if the price was right and Earth paid well. Captain Dongmin stood in the docking bay watching his ship settle into the repair berth. The Thunder Soul looked terrible in the light. Armor was torn away in dozens of places. Scorch marks covered the hull. Atmosphere still leaked from some breaches that emergency patches had not quite sealed. But it was still his ship. Still alive, still capable of being fixed. Captain, Commander Haywan said, approaching with a data pad. The repair estimate is in 6 weeks minimum. The Galactic Council chambers on Kepler Prime were designed to show the glory of 1,000 worlds. The massive dome displayed stars and nebulae overhead. Representatives from dozens of species sat in curved rows that descended toward the central floor. It was here that the fate of civilizations was decided, where peace was negotiated and wars were prevented. Today, the chamber was filled to capacity. Every species wanted to witness what would happen next. Ambassador Kyung-soo An stood on the central floor, wearing the blue uniform of United Earth Diplomatic Service. He had stood here many times before, always as the junior member, always treated with barely concealed contempt. Today felt different. Today the representatives watched him with new eyes. Across the floor stood the Varathian ambassador, a warrior named Drax Vor. His shell was dark gray, marked with blue patterns that showed his diplomatic status. He radiated anger barely controlled. High Counselor Vex Murin floated above the assembly, its energy form contained in a sphere of light. Its voice came like music when it spoke. This emergency session concerns the incident in the Kepler margin. War Prince Shakar of the Varathian Empire engaged the human vessel Thundersoul in neutral space. 4 Varathian cruisers were destroyed. The Varathian Empire demands justice. Draxfor stepped forward. The humans murdered our warriors. 4 ships destroyed. Hundreds of crew killed. This aggression cannot stand unpunished. Aggression? Kyung-Soo replied calmly. Our ship was conducting authorized exercises in neutral space. Your war prince attacked us without provocation. We defended ourselves. Lies. You provoked us with your military display. You knew we would respond. If we knew you would attack us illegally, we would have brought more ships. Kyung-Soo gestured to the display screens around the chamber. I have submitted complete sensor logs from the Thunder Soul. They show clearly who fired first, who threatened surrender or destruction. Your war prince broke council law by attacking in neutral space. The recordings played for all to see. The Varathian cruisers appearing. Shakur's threats. The first plasma fire coming from Varathian ships. The entire battle sequence was there, undeniable and clear. Muttering filled the chamber. Representatives spoke among themselves. The evidence was obvious. The Varathians had attacked first. High Counselor Vex Murin spoke again. The recordings are clear. The Varathians initiated combat. Under council law, the humans acted in self-defense. This matter is legally resolved. Legal resolution is not enough, Draxvor shouted. His mandibles clicked in fury. The humans humiliated our fleet. They must pay for that shame. Your shame is your own, Kyung-Soo replied. You assumed we were weak. You attacked us based on that assumption. We proved you wrong. That is not our fault. Trade Minister Gorlak, the Muridan representative, spoke up. His voice was wet and gurgling. Perhaps this incident shows us something important. Humanity has been underestimated. Their military capability is clearly greater than we believed. This should inform future interactions. They are still primitives, Draxvor insisted. One lucky battle changes nothing. Lucky? Kyung-Soo allowed anger to color his voice. Your war prince brought 6 heavy cruisers against 1 human ship. He had every advantage. Numbers, firepower, experience. And he lost. That was not luck. That was capability. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species argued for sanctions against the Varathians. Others wanted to study human military technology. A few suggested that humanity should be elevated to full council membership immediately. Through it all, High Counselor Vex Murin watched. The ancient being had observed 1,000 species rise and fall. It recognized something in humanity that others missed. Not just their military skill, but their fundamental nature. They were a species that had survived countless wars on their own world. They understood conflict in ways that peaceful species never could. Finally, Vex Murin spoke again, and its voice carried authority that silenced the chamber. The legal matter is closed. The Varathians violated neutral space laws. No sanctions will be applied to humanity. However, Ambassador Draxvor, if your empire wishes to pursue this matter of honor, council law permits formal military challenge. Is that what you seek? Draxvor hesitated. A formal challenge meant sanctioned combat, fleet against fleet. Winner takes all. But after seeing what one human ship could do, did he want to risk Varathian pride against an entire human fleet? Yes, Draxvor said finally. The Varathian Empire formally challenges humanity to prove their worth in combat. Let us meet in battle and settle this matter definitively. The chamber went silent. Everyone understood what this meant. War. Not total war, but sanctioned combat under council rules. 2 fleets would meet. One would win. One would lose. The loser would accept the judgment and end the dispute. All eyes turned to Kyung-Soo. He had no authority to accept such a challenge. That decision belonged to Earth's government, but he knew what he had to say. I will carry your challenge to Earth, Kyung-Soo replied. We will respond within 30 days. The session ended. As representatives filed out, many approached Kyung-Soo. Some offered support. Others wanted to discuss trade agreements. The attitude toward humanity had shifted dramatically. They were no longer the quiet newcomers. They were players in galactic politics now. Back on Earth, Admiral Jae-sung Ryu read the formal challenge in his Geneva office. He called an immediate meeting with military command and government officials. The conference room filled quickly. They want a fleet battle, Jae-sung explained, sanctioned by the Council. They are giving us a chance to prove ourselves or be humiliated permanently. Can we win? Asked President Elena Martinez, leader of United Earth. That depends on many factors. How many ships do they commit? Where does the battle take place? What are the exact rules? Jae-sung pulled up fleet displays. We have the Thunder Soul class as our main battle line. 12 ships total when construction is complete. But only 3 are fully operational right now. 3 against how many Varathians? The president asked, unknown, but likely 20 or more cruisers. They will want overwhelming force to guarantee victory. General Minho Park leaned forward. Can 3 Thunder Soul class ships defeat 20 cruisers? Jae-sung looked at the specifications. The Thunder Soul had proven itself against 6, but 20 was a different matter. Unless... We need to talk to Captain Dongmin, Jae-sung said. 2 weeks later, the Thunder Soul returned to Earth. The ship had been repaired and upgraded during its time at the Muradin station. New armor plating covered the damaged sections. Weapon systems had been improved based on combat experience. The Hammer Protocol had been refined and tested. Captain Dongmin Park and Commander Haewon Choi stood in Admiral Jae-sung's office, overlooking the space elevator terminal in Nairobi. The Varathians challenged us to fleet combat, Jae-sung explained. We need to decide if we accept. We should accept, Dongmin said immediately. If we decline, we admit we cannot fight. Everything we proved in the Kepler margin becomes meaningless. We cannot match their numbers, Jae-sung warned. They will bring at least 20 ships. We have 3 Thunder Soul class battleships ready for combat. Then we do not fight them the way they expect, Haewon said. She activated a tactical display. The Varathians think in terms of formation combat. Ships in line exchanging fire until one side breaks. That is how they have fought for centuries. And how do we fight? Jae-sung asked. Like humans, Haewon replied. We use deception, ambush, and unconventional tactics. We studied the Varathian battle recordings. They are predictable. They rely on standard formations and responses. If we can break their formation, we can defeat them in detail. Dongmin nodded. During our battle, they struggled when we did not follow expected patterns. Their commanders could not adapt quickly. That is their weakness. Jae-sung studied the tactical display. You are proposing we accept the challenge. 3 ships against 20 or more. And you think we can win? I think we can fight, Dongmin replied. And humans are good at fighting. The decision was made. Ambassador Kyung-soo returned to the Galactic Council and delivered Earth's response. Humanity accepts the Varathian challenge, Kyung-soo announced. We propose the following terms. Battle to occur in the Athens system, neutral space. 3 human ships against whatever force the Varathians wish to commit. Combat continues until one side surrenders or is destroyed. Council observers to ensure rules are followed. Draxvor smiled with his mandibles. 3 ships? You are either brave or foolish. We accept these terms. The Varathian Empire will commit 20 heavy cruisers. We will crush you and end this matter permanently. We shall see, Kyung-soo replied. News of the upcoming battle spread across the galaxy like fire. Every species wanted to watch. Betting pools formed on dozens of worlds. Most bet on the Varathians. A few brave souls bet on humanity. On Earth, preparations began. The 3 Thunder Soul class battleships gathered in orbit. Dongmin would command the Thunder Soul itself. Captain Ji-won Kwan would lead the Tempest Heart, and Captain Sang-min Yu would command the Stormcaller. All 3 captains were veterans. All 3 had studied the battle in the Kepler margin, and all 3 understood they were about to make history. Commander Haewon developed the battle plan. It was complex and risky. It required perfect timing and coordination.